Okay, so tonight we're gonna attempt to make a an Egyptian themed box. Kind of looks like an acorn. Am I zoomed in too far, or
A little bit. Just back it off of here. It'll be perfect. Then we can see your tool rest, tool action.
um,
That's good.
That was good. Yeah.
rare back in the box? So essentially, it's an acorn. I was doing play on words. Uh, Once again, my joke fell on deaf ears.
I was just thinking, what's Egyptian about this?
So that was a piece of maple. It was a dry run that I did earlier today. First piece I've turned in about 3 weeks. And so I'm starting with another piece of maple. It's got a little bit of spalding in it. I think it's red maple. And so yeah, plow through it and see what kind of trouble we can do. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make the lid first. And then one of the key elements of an acorn is the acorn, the bottom of the nut, it actually grows up inside of the cap. And so one of the key elements that is often missed is right where that curve comes around. You want to have a flat. You want to have a flat here, and then on the box itself, you want to have a slight curve going towards the tenon. That way, when you got it put together, it looks like it's growing all the way inside. So let's grab the face shield. Put a smock on, so try not to get as many shavings all over my nice worldwide t-shirt. And let the sweating commence. So first we want to kind of identify where the lid is going to be at. So this is about the width of the lid that I'm going to go for, and then down right about through here will probably be the body of the nut. And if you throw the old golden mean calipers on there, they're like dead on. So once you get used to it, you, like Matt was saying a while back, your eye gets trained to the golden ratio. So we're going to start by smoothing this out, getting a pretty decent finish here with the skew. At least we're going to attempt to. Make sure it's all nice and round. And you'll notice I've already got a tenon cut on this side because we're gonna turn the cap first, and then we'll use the nut base as a jam chuck to finish the top of the cap. So all I'm doing now is just putting a demarcation line here where my lid's going to be. And that's like glass. So I'm going to come in from spindle gouge. I'm going to rotate, get the basic shape here on the side. Actually, we're going to part that off first. We need to part that off. Get the part before the horse. Coming in with cutting tool. Everybody knows how to part. So what I'm doing is taking a little one blade length down, and then coming on the other side, taking a half a blade length. That way you've got room and you ain't got to worry about your tool jailing up on you. Now I'll take it down so far, and then I'll switch to a 16th parting tool, take it the rest of the way, back off the live center so there's no pressure. Definitely not necessary. But I like doing it because I can get a finer cut and not have to worry about losing the piece because I went too far with the larger tool. And so now we'll take the base off. I always want to make sure that I have jaw number 1. That it started with when it was turned round. While we're here, we'll talk about trying to find that perfect tenon. And you often hear me say, all you got to do is lay your pencil on your live center, circle that out. Now you've got the perfect size tenon for your standard jaws on your chucks, your 50 mil jaws, without having any additional jigs or anything hanging around for you to keep up with. Now, go spindle gouge and get that rough contour shape here. Like I said, we're not too worried about the top half because that's going to be finished with the back jam shut. So all I'm shooting for is about half, almost like doing a bead. So using spindle gouge, cut on center for a little bit above. That's what I do. Then we'll just start making this rounded shoulders. Working to get nice cuts. We don't want to sand. Check the roundness here. Funky. So now we've got the basic shape on this side. We can do away with self-advertising there. I need to slide the tailstock back. One thing that's different about doing this demo here, when I did a dry run earlier, I don't work whenever I'm doing spindle work and any type of hollowing. I don't work off the side of the bed. I always slide the the headstock down, work off the end, just because it's so much better on my back. Nobody wants to watch me taking the tailstock off and putting it back on, so we'll just struggle through it here. Any questions so far?
Nothing in chat, Dane.
Right on. Okay, so scrapers. I want to talk about scrapers. Talked about it in the past. Come back over and discuss it again, since that's what I'm going to be using for a few items. And so you'll notice when you use a scraper, the business end obviously is, whatever bevel angle you've got there. Then you want to get it sharp, that way you got a nice burr here on top. But before you use a scraper, you got to understand that this is just a piece of flat bar. And you can see the milling marks from the milling machine that are in here compared to where it's all nice and shiny up here where it's been worked through on the diamond stuff. You have to treat your scrapers just like a planer. You've got to flatten it in order to get a proper cutting edge. So you have to do the same thing on your scrapers. You need to flatten the top of it. Then you'll have a true, consistent, flat edge. Also, after you've already done that, and then you go back to resharpen, you always, before you go to raise that burr again, you always want to take the old burr off, because the original burr is now jagged and broke. And if you just put another burr on there, now you've got a partial burr along with jagged burrs, and it's not going to give you a completely clean cut. Any questions on that? Nope. All right, we'll carry on. Okay, so we're making this flat. So we've got the curve coming around. So now we want to get a nice, consistent flat on that shoulder there. Again, to emulate that nut growing up inside of it. And to do that, use a square scraper. You could use a parting tool. I prefer a scraper. And we're just going to go in following proper scraper usage techniques. You want to cut on center, but you want to have the tool handle raised, because if you just go in straight, you're going to get a catch. So you've got to raise the tool handle a little bit. And then so now I'm cutting at a negative rate, the proper cutting action on a flat scraper. And so we'll just take this down until I got a nice flat shoulder here. And so when you're making that cut, to make sure that you're going straight, you want to be parallel. You want to have the scraper parallel with your lathe ways, because those are parallel. And so if you just eyeball where your tool is at with your bed ways, 9 times out of 10, you're always going to cut a consistently flat shoulder on something. And so when I put my straight edge on, I've got no daylight. And that's what we wanted.
Got a question, Dane.
Sure.
What angle is your scraper sharpened at?
I knew you were going to ask that. There's a guy over in England that says right about that. So
Is that about 80 degrees?
It could be. Yeah. I'll grab the protractor afterwards and see what we can figure out on it.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got our shoulder now. And so now we want to excavate the inside of the cap. And so to do that, you can use your spindle gouge, you can use a detail gouge. I'm going to use a 1/2-inch round nose scraper. So once again, it has been flattened. Has that angle on it. Probably about 75, 80 degrees as well. And we've already raised our tool rest from the prior scraper, so should be good on that. Now, when I'm going in here and cutting, am I blocking the camera?
You did a little bit at one point.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. You're right there. You're good, Dane.
Okay. So just engaging just below center and then raising the handle up as I'm pulling towards about 10 o'clock. And I'll tell you, this is so awkward. I've been turning off the front of the lathe for probably about 7 years now. This is an awkward way to turn. So I don't
Pushing you a little out of a little bit out of your comfort, a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Well, you know, it's yeah, you know, it's hard to believe that I used to do this. But now I've gotten so used to not having to do it, it's awkward. So you got to be careful not to go too far. So I've only got about 3/16 of an inch in the chuck. So you don't want to blow through, but at the same time, you got to have enough room so you can finish excavating or carving out the top side of the cap here. So it's always good to stop and see what your progress is. Some good shavings. Not bad for some pumpkin stuff here. A little bit further. And then we got to set the recess. So I think that'll be good. So next, I'm going to use my box scraper. Same process. And we're just going to push straight in, making sure we're staying parallel. But we got to be mindful of the cant on the sidewall here. So I've got cutting action here on the tip. So as it's going straight in, it's cutting. And then at the same time, it's cutting on this surface here on the side as well to make a nice clean cut for your wall. All right, that should be enough. So you always see me, I'll always make sure the wood chips are blown away before I move my tool rest for ice. Got a chunk of the blade, those are chunk underneath. And then we're going to have out of balance, out of position issues. All right, so at this time, you needed to sand. This is the time you want to sand. We had a sanding demo last week, so I'm not going to sand. This is definitely at 340. Even the funky stuff, there's no tear out in there. Cool. And if you want to finish it, you can go ahead and finish it at that point. Also, if you wanted to put any line details in with your toe of your skew or your 3.2 tool, now's the time to do it. So with that, we'll set that aside. We'll remount the base body. Put that back in jaw number 1. Marked earlier. Should rotate nice and round. Look at that. So now comes the hard part. What's the hard part, Brenda?
Hollowing it out.
Nope. Hard part is trying to get that nice friction fit.
Oh. My problem is hollowing it out.
Hollowing easy.
Yeah, it's creeping up on the right size. It's the hard part. I hear you, Dane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's see. Eyeball that. Let's see how that works. We just want to sneak up on it. So we use our skew. Raise the tool rest a little bit. I'm just going to do a typical plunge planing cut. There, and just like that, blow right through it. That was so close.
Just a little bit more. Right now would be about the time I'd think maybe I should just sand a little off
Yeah,
because I can get too much.
that trimming is so tiny. We wind up sanding the wrong spot. We're close.
Almost.
Almost, right? I'm just gonna sure. Now, length. The front is good. It's the back. Like I said, the hardest part, unless you've done several of them, then you got the muscle memory built in. All right, we're going to try to sing. Can't say it I've ever had any luck. Go back to this. Goodness. That's a little too much.
Beautiful.
It fits. Bring the light tailstock up, our center in, and give it a little bit of thickness. Yes. Be thin there. See what happens. Connect in spindle gouge. So now we want to rotate it over because now we're trying to get the rest of this shape. It's taking no pressure at all to burnish that wood.
What speed are you turning at?
About 26. Forward. Little rest there. The outside a little bit here, some sandpaper. It's just, and top of the lid. That's the
Beautiful.
And so next, what we want to do is we want to get that slight curve going on here at the top, so that that wall looks like it's going underneath the cap. Definitely should have started with a bigger piece of wood, but that's it. So we'll take a skew, work a little bit of that off. I didn't realize this piece of wood had that funkiness going on with it. It is fun. Let's see how it looks. A little bit more. So cut a little slower. Yeah, a bit. So now that's there. All right, so now we can come back. Set our drill a hole inside, set our distance to hollow. First, I had to get rid of that elbow pointer. Handy drill machine there. Go to about here. So I made a divot earlier, a little point on the brad point. Find your center there. Drill at about 400, 300 to 400. And you just push it in. Once you've got it on parallel, you know you're cutting because it actually cuts. Got to be mindful not to drill too far. Quarter of an inch.
What's the size of your drill bit?
It's like a quarter. Got that? Let me double check. Looks like a quarter of an inch. Nope. It's 5/16.
Okay.
5/16. So I just got it sunk in profile here. Then it comes in engine for pass it like that. And so next, we can hollow.
Fun part.
Oh, it's not that bad.
I still have trouble with it.
And so you can use your spindle gouge, and you want to be cutting about on center, just above. You're just going to go in and grab that left wall, the hole, and as you'll be cutting on the bottom flute here. The flute will be pretty much open, and you're going to be dragging it somewhere between 9:30 and 10:30 on a clock face. You'll know the sweet spot when you hit it because it'll cut good, and you just work your way down. One important thing is you want to make sure you got your tool rest far enough back to where you're not resting your bevel on your tool rest, because otherwise that's gonna give you problems. And you just go a little bit at a time. So I'll go a good bit of distance down here. And then I'll grab this scraper and finish it up. You want to get a good amount of wood out. Because you don't want your box to be too heavy. And once again, for me, this is really awkward. There's a big difference between turning straight on and then turning off to the side and having all your leverage on the other side of the lathe. Let's see how much further I got. Another quarter of an inch. Now I'm going to grab round nose scraper. Could use a left hand scraper for it. Since nobody will ask, This is a left-hand scraper. So the reason why I call it a left-hand scraper is because the cutting edge is on the left-hand side. You can also take some bar stock and grind it on the opposite end and call it a right-hand scraper. Y'all must be sleepy tonight.
I knew that one.
Yes, that's right. You do know that one.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
You can also take a left hand or a right hand scraper and turn it into a left hand scraper.
Yes, and I know
right.
that one. I know that one because of you. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So once again, got a scraper. You want to be cutting on center, tool handle raised. If you're going in straight, you're going to get a violent catch.
That's how I blew up that last bow I did.
Yeah. Yeah, you got startled. Yep. First, I'm going to take my box scraper and I'm going to go down the wall here and open that up a little bit.
Your head's in the way.
So I'm having to do everything on just on feel and sound. Because one, I don't have my light on, so I can't really see in there very good. And two, like I said, this is like a whole new turning experience. Fighting with the leg, these two legs back here trying to trip me.
Dane, we got a question about your scraper.
Yes.
Are your scrapers handmade or homemade?
No, they were purchased. They were purchased.
Okay.
But you can easily make one out of some bar stock. If I needed a scraper today, that's what I would do. I would make it far cheaper. So I'm just trying to get a nice concave bottom here, joining with the wall. Almost there. So a little bit of the drill, the hole that was drilled earlier. Moved. All right, that looks good in there. Hit that with a little bit of black paper. This is a piece of 340. right. And just grins and put a little bit of linseed oil in there. Give me a minute and grab some water. Any questions?
What wax did you use?
Old linseed oil.
Can you explain to everyone? I know you've told me this, but explain to everyone why you, when you're done turning, you turn your lathe speed down instead of turning the lathe off.
Because the on-off button, the mechanical components that are in that paddle switch are cheaply made. You're constantly knocking it off, hitting it to turn it off, pulling it back on to turn it back on. It just wears the switch out quicker. So if you got a speed knob, it's just far easier to turn the speed down to 0 and turn your speed back up. And then at the same time, you always know that when you start your lathe up, it's set at 0. Instead of hitting that paddle switch, putting it on, and you still, and maybe you turned it off suddenly and you walked away and you forgot that you had it on at, at 1500 RPMs. You got a block of wood on there, and then that block of wood comes flying off. Or you got a big piece on your chuck, and you hit that paddle switch, and your lathe doesn't have auto braking. And then when you do that hard stop, then your chuck comes winding off. For those that don't use the little rough screws, and then even those that do use the rough screw, it's still marring and making indentations on your spindle shaft.
Hey, Dane, question on your blow. Is it full strength or is it diluted?
This is 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, my linseed oil I use 100%. All right, so what we got going on here? So now we just need to profile the outside. Something like bottom of an egg, bottom half of an egg. Got how you can do whatever shape. Somebody questions whether it's actual acorn. You just make up a name. There's probably 1,000 different species of oaks. Not everybody knows specifically what each acorn looks like. Or like I said, it's a Middle Eastern basket. From the days of Indiana Jones. Okay, so let's make sure that we've got this set. Don't want to blow through the bottom. Where the line is at, that's a dead bottom there. So I'm going to come to the side here. Back to the spindle gaps. We're about center. First, we want to open up a little bit of room so we've got room to start making that curve and going down towards the center here. start the next one. Curve. Just doing some roughing cuts here. I ain't gonna worry about the nice fine cuts for the end. The darndest cutting piece of wood. Hard, soft, hard, soft. Not used to cutting stuff like this.
Yeah, grain like that makes your tool jump around.
Yeah, it does. It's burning so easily. Change the detail gouge. Start the reds. Maybe. So make them different front heads. Neck stretch here. Ah,
Getting a kink.
oh, yeah, went too long that time. It's, my sandpaper runs, I do sandpaper. I do little strips, and then I fold it into birds. Apply some backing for the paper, but at the same time, it prevents the paper from breaking off and splitting. One of you. Learn that from Mr. Rapp.
That when?
Look at Richard Rapp.
Okay. Starting to cut out a little bit.
You what?
Said you were starting to cut out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. So, let's go back to the detail gauge. Dust this thing off. Smaller ones. Put some oil on the outside, see what it looks like.
Why do you use
Said
your
oil,
finger
not
instead of
I
paper
said
towel?
oil, not denatured alcohol. What was that, Brenda?
Why are you using your finger to spread it instead of a paper towel?
Oh, I use the paper towels to wipe it off my fingers.
I guess you're not leaving no fuzzies on it that way either, are you?
Well, no, you know, your fingers are 150 grit, so we learned that last week. Right, JJ?
Yes, we did.
Let that soak in a little bit here. There, I used a paper towel. What you could do, jam chuck. Remount this and work the flip it around and then work the bottom. That would be too easy, wouldn't it, Billy?
Or
There it is.
Just fly off.
Yep. Nice catch.
Little pointy down. Here we go.
Very nice.
That's beautiful.
Very nice.
Trust me, it's got a real nice snap.
Nice.
Looks good.
That's it.
Dane, that was a very
Yeah.
enjoyable evening. Believe me,
Oh, well, thank you.
that was
That's
a
how
very
many times.
enjoyable evening.
Yeah. Great demo, Dane.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
a
you.
very enjoyable evening, Dane.